Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope that you're going to enjoy this video. In this video, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be swapping motors on my 250. This has pretty much been a daily driver. I like the way this drone fly, but we're going to see if we're going to be getting a little more performance out of it with those new motors. And those are the FPVCycle 2104, designed specifically for sub 250 quad. So I'm going to be swapping them up and we'll see what kind of performance we get out of this. Alright guys, so I thought it only going to make sense since I'm going to be swapping the motor to actually kind of show you how the drone has been performing in its current state. As I said earlier, this is pretty much my daily driver. Whoop. I fly this drone pretty much every day. I like the way it flies. And one of the things I love about it is that it is very quiet compared to all my other 5-inch. So I can actually really go at it and not worry about bothering the neighbors. Fly pretty good. Right now I am using a Tattoo R-Line battery, 650 milliamp Forest. I use Forest on this garden field. I needed to try a 6S build. I'm pretty pleased with the Forest. Oh yeah, good catch. And the motor I'm using are the Border Hobby 2004. I believe they are 2100 kV. They perform pretty well. I really like the way this drone fly. And I've always been surprised how good the 250 fly. And again, you can hear it, it is pretty quiet. Extremely quiet compared to all my other drones. And I've crashed it a couple times and the frame has survived. And again, as I say, I've crashed it a couple times though. And the frame seems to be pretty good, but as you can see, I only fly right here. I don't really go anywhere else. So I can't really tell you how good or how strong the frame is gonna be if you crash on concrete. I usually just crash on grass. But as far as those motor goes, I love the way they fly. And those prop I'm using are HQ prop, and I have to say they do pretty good. Very responsive. I believe they're only 2.5, so they are not the most aggressive prop, but that pretty much fit my flying style. So you get an idea how this thing fly pretty good. Say it's a daily driver, so I'm pretty used to how it does fly. And we will see if the 2104 from FPVCycle gonna do any better. And you can see me pushing this little guy, and the flight time is actually not too bad. This is not my flying style. This is not something I'll usually a lot more smoother than that, but I'm just trying to kind of show you guys what the motor are capable of doing. Let me see, we got about 4 minutes, and on average I get about 5 minutes to fly with this guy. And my My battery is still at 14.7. So looking at those motors side by side, you can't actually tell that there is a difference in size. The FPVCycle is 1 millimeter wider than the Border Hobby. And as far as height goes, they both are 4, so the height is pretty much the same, even though they are using different bell. The Border Hobby using a T-mount system for your props. Work pretty good. You do have those 2 screws to keep your prop in place, and you got the shaft in the middle that is a 1.5 millimeter shaft. On the other end, the FPVCycles using a 3 millimeter shaft, and this is the only model on the market that's using this shaft. Very small. I'm not sure how good that's gonna do as far as endurance goes. It does come with a little 3 millimeter screw. And in the bottom, they are both using C-clip to keep the belt in place. They both are using single winding for the motor wires. And looking at them, they both have clear little lips in the bottom that is to keep your magnet in place. Even though I have to say that the lip on the FPVCycle motor seems to be a lot more prominent. That is pretty much the main difference between two of those motors. Now this one is a 2100 kV and the FPVCycle is 2300 kV, so I'm expecting to get a little more pop from the FPVCycle just because it has a lot more kVs. And of course it is slightly, it uses slightly wider stator, so I am hoping I should be getting some increase in performance. As far as bearing goes, they both feel about the same. They seem to be having the same amount of notchiness. That is pretty surprising because I have a lot of flight on those Border Hobby, but they're still feeling pretty notchy. So I will see how that goes over time. Let me get the weight on these two motors. And by the way, I did cut the wire short on my FPVCycle motor so they could fit on the 250. The motor itself comes with a very long wire. I believe I measured them about 25 centimeter, which come down to about 10 inches. FPVCycle weighs about, let's see, 17 gram, and the Border RB are 15 gram. This motor does come with a set of hardware. You got screws for your motor, but one of the most significant ones gonna be this little adapter. This is allowing you to use regular prop which have a 5 millimeter hole, so it does take your shaft from 3 millimeter to 5, and this is just a regular prop. You can see it goes in, and you do have another set of screws if you're going to be using prop with 5 millimeter hole. And you can see, comparing it to the 3 millimeter screw, you do have a much bigger lips on the screw. But I got myself a set of props that will be going directly into this motor. Those are the prop I'm gonna be using with those motor, and those are made by Dial Prop. They are the Dial Prop Cyclone 5.1 by 26. They do come with the required 3 millimeter hole for this motor, so that'll be a direct fit. That's what I'm gonna be using. And comparing the two prop, this is the HQ prop. That's a 5 by 1 by 26 T-mount that I've been using on the motor. The weight of the HQ prop is 2.97, and the weight of the dial props are, let me zero that, about 3.09 grams. So guys, so new motor are in. I have to say that I do like the way this drone look with the new motor. The white of the motor are actually matching the white of the Nebula Pro camera. So let's see. I always have a hard time talking and flying at the same time, but I'll try to make it work. Big difference between the two motors, between the 2004 and the 2104. I would say that, okay, hold on. I would say that would be mostly the throttle. The throttle on a 2104 feel a lot more linear than on the 2004 from Border Hobby. Except for that, another thing I would say is also that it seemed to be a lot more, making a lot more noise compared to the 2004, the 2104R. But I actually don't think it's the motor. I think it's more likely the props, since I also changed props. But overall, the flag characteristic of the drone is very different. I really like it. I said earlier, a lot more responsive. Ooh. And overall, just feels pretty different. I'm not gonna say it's feel better than the 2004, but it's kind of hard to say because I not only changed the motor but also changed the props. So I'll say the flag characteristic has to do with both of those, prop and motor, and of course those are the props that Kebab I have specifically selected for this motor. What am I doing here? So I would say, you know, those prop are specifically made for this motor, so maybe that's why I'm getting the result I'm getting right now. Pretty interested to see this motor gonna fly with a different set of props, but for right now, those are the only prop with the 3mm hole. But it's flying good, even though my flying suck at this time because I'm trying to fly and think in the same time, and that is, I'm not good at multitasking when it comes to that. But I say overall, pretty good motor. And the main question is going to be, do you need this motor? I would say if you already have a sub 250 drone, and you're already using a 2004 motor from Border Hobby, and those are great motor, I would say there is really no point to switch to those motor. That's just my personal opinion. I mean, the 2004 were flying pretty good, and this guy also, the 2104 from FPVCycle, also flying pretty good. But in my opinion, moving from one motor to this motor is not really worth it, just for the cost of money. But if you are building a brand new drone, sub 50, 5-inch or a 4-inch motors, a 4-inch drone, sorry about that guys, I would say yes, you can get this motor. They're flying pretty good, they look great. I like the way they look, much better than the Border Hobby. And I mean, flying wise, I mean, this flying great. One thing I would say that is my flight time did suffer a little bit, which is kind of expected it since I'm using a slightly bigger motor. With the 2004, I was getting about 5 minutes of freestyling. With those guys, I'm getting about 4 minutes, and that's really pushing it because even right now, my battery is about down to 14 amps. So right now, I'm pretty much just kind of a little bit on the reserve as far as battery goes. But overall, great props, great motor. I do like the way the drone flying this way. I'm not gonna go back and switching it back to the 2004. It just gives you a little more torque, especially on the low hand, and the throttle is a lot more linear, and that's why kind of allow me to do all the stupid stuff I'm doing right now because I really don't know what I'm doing since I'm talking. But great props. And again, you see, I can't even think. Great motor. I say great motor, but the only thing I kind of fortunate about this video because I can't really tell you if the difference I'm feeling as far as flat characteristics go. I can't really say it's just because of the motor since I changed the prop. So I say it's a combination of the motor and the props. That'll be pretty much it for this video, guys, and I hope I will see you on the next one. Thank you for watching.